The Strange Medicine, A History of Ketamine. The molecule itself to understand what those prisoners experienced. What every person who has ever taken ketamine has experienced. You have to go inside the brain. The human brain is an electrochemical storm, billions of neurons firing messages at each other through a dizzying array of chemical messengers. One of the most important of these is glutamate, the brain's primary excitatory neurotransmitter, the chemical that says, fire, connect, process, feel. Glutamate works largely through a receptor called NMDA, the N-methyl-D aspartate receptor, a kind of gate built into the surface of neurons. When glutamate binds to the NMDA receptor, the gate opens, calcium rushes in, and the neuron lights up. Ketamine is an NMDA receptor antagonist. It doesn't activate the gate, it blocks it. It slips inside the ion channel and sits there like a cork in a bottle, preventing the normal flow of chemical communication. The result is a disruption so profound that the brain's ability to integrate sensory information essentially breaks down. The prefrontal cortex, the seat of your sense of self, your ability to place yourself in time and space, goes quiet. The default mode network, the neural system responsible for your continuous internal narrative, your sense of I am here, I am me, loses its coherence. The brain, suddenly unable to construct its usual reality, does what brains do. It improvises. It fills the silence with something else. That something else is the K-hole, the out-of-body drift, the feeling of being poured out of yourself like water from a glass. At lower doses, ketamine produces a gentle dissociation. Colors shift, sound warps, the body feels remote and pleasurable. At higher doses, it can produce what some researchers call a near-death experience, a complete dissolution of ego, a sensation of floating in infinite space, a confrontation with something that feels, with absolute sincerity, like the void or the divine. But here's the twist. That same NMDA blockade does something else entirely. Something nobody expected. It triggers a cascade of glutamate activity in other brain regions, flooding synapses with AMPA receptor stimulation, sparking the release of BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor, essentially a fertilizer for neurons. Synaptic connections that have withered under the long drought of depression suddenly have the conditions to regrow. It is, in the most literal neurological sense, a reset. And then there's the fungus. Decades after ketamine synthesis, scientists made an unsettling discovery.
This fungus excretes ketamine molecules.
Pashonia chlamydospora, a common fungus living quietly in soil across the world, produces ketamine naturally. It had been doing so long before any chemist ever assembled the molecule in a lab. Why? No one fully knows. Perhaps as a chemical weapon against competing organisms, perhaps as a signaling tool. But the implication hangs in the air. This molecule is not purely human invention. It is, in some sense, ancient. The Earth was already making it. The buddy drug forward to the jungles of Vietnam. A medic's worst nightmare isn't necessarily the enemy. It's the window between injury and treatment, that stretch of time on the ground where a soldier is bleeding, screaming, going into shock, and the drugs available to help might stop his heart before the bullet does.
It hurts so bad. This is the buddy drug. It'll help. Do.
Morphine, the standard battlefield analgesic, was genuinely dangerous at the doses needed for severe trauma. It suppressed respiration. It could kill a man whose body was already fighting for its life. Ketamine changed that calculus. Unlike opioids, it doesn't suppress breathing. It maintains airway reflexes. It provides profound analgesia without the lethality. Soldiers began carrying it on their person. Small injectable doses tucked into kit, so that if a buddy went down, you didn't have to wait for a medic. You pulled out your vial and you saved his life. The buddy drug. It was crude, battlefield pragmatic, far from clinical. But it worked, and it planted ketamine permanently in the military medical infrastructure, a reputation it carries to this day.